Good day. We're still busy with the Mother Baby Friendly Initiative. We are still busy with lesson 1, and I am still Anna Nolte. Okay, in this session, we are now at part 2B, and we will use skills for building confidence and giving support. As I've said several times, especially in the case of first-time mothers, they lack a lot of confidence, so we need to build their confidence. And mothers with breastfeeding, whether they're first-time mothers or second or many more times, mothers always need support because there are always and very often some challenges and problems that they are struggling with. So as I'm saying, the mothers who are breastfeeding often lose confidence in themselves. They might feel that they are a failure, and especially if they struggle with breastfeeding, they feel that it's not working because of them. They feel it's their fault that it's not working, and they often get pressure from the family and the friends that this should work, that they should be able to breastfeed, and that makes them even feel a bigger failure and lose more confidence. And I think we all have seen all of this when we are helping mothers breastfeeding. So we need the skills to help her feel more confident and good about herself. Now, obviously, if the mother gets it right, so if we can help the mother to do breastfeeding correctly, obviously it will increase her confidence. But the way in which we communicate to her plays an enormous role in making her confident and feeling her good about herself. And mothers often feel very quickly wrong that they're doing something wrong, that there's something wrong with themselves, and that they feel a failure, and that's because of them that they are not getting breastfeeding correctly. And this reduces her confidence, obviously. When you can't get something right, you always lose your confidence. So it is important to avoid telling a mother what to do. She must choose for herself what she needs to do, so that will also increases her confidence. When she feels, I've made the correct decision, I'm getting it right, and it's working for me. Now, again, there are certain skills that we are going to focus on. There's also 6 skills. First of all, accept what the mother caregiver thinks and feels. Recognize and praise what they are doing right. Give practical help. Give a little relevant information and not lots and lots overloading them. Use simple language and make 1 or 2 suggestions, not commands. It's always the mother that makes the decision and not. Okay, so let's look at skill number 1, to accept what the mother thinks and feels. Sometimes a mother thinks something that you might not agree with, and I think in breastfeeding that often happens. Now, how will she feel? Now, this is very important, and again, when you practice and think about and listen to other people and listen to how people communicate to you, how will she feel if you disagree with her or criticize her or tell her that what she's worried about is not necessary to worry about? It will make her feel that she's wrong, and that reduces her confidence, and she might stop telling you anything. So it's very important that you don't disagree with the mother. It's also very important that you don't agree with a mistaken idea. So that's very important. So this whole thing to communicate around agreement and disagreement is very important. You should accept what she thinks or feels, but then you can feel accepting is different from agreeing or disagreeing. And I think that comes so often in our everyday communication. I'm not repeating it again. Accepting what somebody says is different from not agreeing or agreeing. Okay, here's some examples of when we are accepting what the mother thinks or disagreeing or agreeing with her. Let's see. The mother says, my milk is thin and weak, and so I have to give bottles. We often obviously does not agree with that. And the health workers say, oh no, milk is never thin and weak. It just looks that way. This is an inappropriate response because this is a disagreeing and we're almost belittling the mother. We say, we almost say to her, you stupid man, milk is never thin and weak. And that might definitely make her to lose her confidence. Here's another example. My milk is thin and weak, so I have to give bottle feeds. Again, yes, thin milk can be a problem. Here we agree with her, but we are agreeing with the wrong thing because milk is not thin. So this is an appropriate response because we agree with the wrong information. So let's look at this. My milk is thin and weak, so I have to give bottle feeds. I see. You are worried about your milk. Again, look what we are using. We have identified that she's worried. We have identified her feelings. And now we are empathizing and reflecting on the fact that she's worried. Yes, this is an appropriate response. And this will definitely not make her to lose her confidence. So like we've said in the previous part, when we've done the listening, etc., reflecting back is always the best way to show acceptance. Because what you are doing is you're not differing with the mother, you're not disagreeing with her, you're not agreeing with her, you're clarifying that and make sure that what she says is that you hear correct. And then you can give her the correct information in a later and more appropriate way. The same with empathizing, but we have said to a large extent that empathizing and reflection are going together, going very well together. When a mother is, if a mother is worried and upset and you say something about, oh, don't be upset, it's nothing to worry her about. She might also feel that she was wrong to be upset, or that's the one thing that she might feel, or she might feel that you are also belittling her because she's really worried and upset because something about something, and you tell her it's nothing to be worried about. And I think we can also take that from our personal communication. If you're really worried about something and you communicate it to somebody and somebody says that's really nothing to be worried about, I think I'm very often also frustrated when somebody told me that what I'm very worried about is not really necessary to be worried about. And that reduces mothers' confidence as well, because now they feel that they are not being able to make their own decisions and worry about the right things. So let's look at another demonstration. An example, the mother is in tears. It's terrible. So-and-so has a cold and his nose is completely blocked and I can't breastfeed. He just cries and I don't know what to do. Health worker, don't worry, your baby is doing very well. But in the meanwhile, the mother is still worried. This is the inappropriate response by saying, don't worry, because the mother feels it's wrong to be upset and that reduces her confidence. And again, it doesn't help her to alleviate her worry. So let's look at this example. The mother in tears. It's terrible. Just the fact that she says it's terrible tells you that she's very worried about this story. This is an emotion and a feeling that we need to work on. She has cold and his nose is completely blocked and he can't breastfeed. He just cries and I don't know what to do. Reflection and empathy. You are upset about your child, aren't you? Or you could say you are upset about the fact that the child is not feeding well or something like that. This is an appropriate response because you accept what the mother feels and you made her feel that she was all right to be upset, and now you can work on how and what she's upset about and give her the necessary information. So we can clearly see here that we use empathy, that we use reflection, and that we showed acceptance. Our second skill is to recognize and praise what the mother, caregiver, and the baby are doing right. I think this is so important in all our communication. We all for ourselves want to know and to hear when we are doing things correctly. And we as health workers are, to a very large extent, and specifically when it comes to breastfeeding, what we are talking about now, we are looking for problems. And there are usually lots of problems around breastfeeding. But we need, and we often, and that makes that we often just focus on the wrong and try to correct them. But I'm always saying, even if somebody is doing lots of things wrong, there's always something that they are doing right. And we need to make the mother feel that she's doing something well. So we might need to make it to tell her that. If we tell her that she is doing something wrong or that the baby is not doing well, obviously we will reduce her confidence. So we have to look out for positive things that she does, and to praise her so that to build her confidence. Praising good practices has different benefits. It helps building the mother's confidence. I think we can all vote for that. It encourages her to continue those good practices. That's the other thing. It's reinforcement of the good things that she's doing. And it's also easier for her to accept suggestions later on. When you are telling her that she's doing something wrong in the right way, it's easier for her to accept that. We all know that if you just hear that you're doing things wrong all the time, that it makes you lose confidence, it makes you lose motivation, etc. So that's very important. Like we've said previously, it's sometimes difficult to recognize when a mother is doing right. But mothers are doing something sometimes right. So we just need to look for that. Okay, let's look at this example. Here, a baby is being weighed. The baby is exclusively breastfed. Beside the mother and the baby is the baby's growth chart. You can see it here. His growth chart shows that he has gained a little weight over the last month. However, his growth line is not following the reference curves. It's rising too slowly. This shows that the baby's growth is slow. Which of these remarks will help you to build the mother's confidence? Your baby's growth line is going up too slowly. I don't think your baby is gaining enough weight. Or your baby gained weight last month just on your breast milk. Which one of this will you think will be the best one? The correct response is the last one. Your baby gained weight last month just on your breast milk. So it tells you, it gives the mother, it's not the 100% correct answer in the sense that the baby does need a little bit more feeding. But at least you are giving the mother, praising the right thing and focusing on the positive thing and make her feel more confident. And then from there on, you can give her more information on how to improve her breast milk or to see how she can give more milk, etc. Okay, our third skill is to give practical help. Sometimes it's more better to help the mother practically, to give her practical assistance than to speak to her or to give her information or etc. For example, when a mother feels tired or dirty or uncomfortable, it helps to just make her feel better, to clean her, to put clean clothes on, to make her more comfortable. The same when she's hungry or thirsty, when she has a lot of information already, and when she has clearly a practical problem. Those are the times that we need to really give practical help. So let's look at the practical help that you can give. For example, when she feels dirty and uncomfortable, you can make her clean and comfortable. And obviously, if she's unclean, feels dirty and uncomfortable, you can try your very best to put the baby to the breast and it's not going to work. Or when she's thirsty or hungry, to give her something to eat or to drink first before you concentrate on any breastfeeding things. Or when she has a lot of information already and she struggles with the practical things to get the baby onto the breast, is to hold the baby yourself, to help her to get comfortable and to wash us, and then to further help her practically with the feeding, as like in the positioning and the attachment and expressing breast milk, etc. If we look at this example here, which response do you think is more appropriate? You should let your baby suckle now to help your breast milk come in, or let me try to make you more comfortable and then I'll bring you a drink. And this relates to the example that we had previously had. This will obviously, the mother won't feel very comfortable to feed the baby when she's not feeling comfortable and when she's dirty and when she's thirsty. Now, what kind of practical help might you offer? The appropriate question is the second one, in which the health worker offered to give practical help. She said, I'll help hold your baby till you get comfortable, or she said, or she will give the mother some food, etc., while she holds the baby, and then the mother can breastfeed. It is important, obviously, that the baby should be breastfed soon, but it's more likely that the mother it's more important that the mother should be comfortable, because if she's not comfortable, breastfeeding will definitely not be successful. Our fourth skill is to give a little relevant information, and I think we're all very aware of how quickly one can be overloaded with information. If I just keep on teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching, and you don't have time to rest and to absorb the information, one can get overloaded very quickly. And mothers obviously need a lot of information about breastfeeding, and especially the first when they're doing breastfeeding for the first time. And it's very important that we share our knowledge with them. And it's very important that we correct mistaken ideas. But sometimes we're so overwhelmed with our own knowledge that we tell them, that we give the mothers too much information. And it might be one of the dangers after you've done all these courses, that you just want to give the mothers more and more and more information. It's often very important, and it says here, it's a skill to be able to listen, and that's what I've tried to teach you in the previous parts of the lesson as well, to listen to the mother and hear what her real problem is, and choose just 2 or 3 pieces of most relevant information to give her now. And then she can absorb that, and next time, then when it's more relevant, you can give more information at the latest stage. So try to give information that's relevant for the situation now. And tell her things that she can use today, not in a few weeks' times. It's important to concentrate on the now instead of when she's at home 3 weeks later. To explain the reason for a difficulty is often the most relevant information when it helps a mother to understand what is happening. For example, say the baby struggles to latch now when we are demonstrating it. It helps to understand the mother to understand what's happening now. We don't need to give now a full lecture on how the anatomy and the physiology and the etc. works. So the most relevant things that she needs now is important. And as we've said previously, give her 1 or 2 pieces of information at a time, and especially if she's tired and have already received a lot of information. And mothers are often tired during, especially the first 1 or 2 or 3 days after she gave birth. And give information in a positive way. We have talked about the words enough and proper and etc. So give the information in a positive way, so that it doesn't sound like criticism, and that it doesn't sound as if she is doing something wrong. Especially when you are trying to correct a mistaken idea. For example, instead of saying thin porridge is not good for your baby, you could rather say thick foods help the baby to grow. So don't concentrate on the negative thin porridge, but rather concentrate on the thick foods. And before you give information to a mother, always try and build her confidence. Accept what she says, praise what she does well, and then you give information to correct whatever she has done wrongly. Here's another example. This baby is 3 months old. His mother has recently started giving some formula feeds in a bottle, in addition to breastfeeding. The baby has developed diarrhea. The mother is saying to the health worker, he has started to have loose stools. Should I stop breastfeeding? Which response gives positive information? It's good that you ask about before deciding. Diarrhea usually stops sooner if you continue to breastfeed. Or, oh no, don't stop breastfeeding. It might get worse if you do that. I think it's obvious that the first one is the positive response, because first of all, we've praised her that she has done something right. She asked, that's the right thing to do. And diarrhea usually stops sooner if you continue breastfeeding. Instead of telling her, don't stop breastfeeding, you might get worse. This whole thing is loaded with negativity. So it's, I think, easy to see the positive information. Skill here is to use simple language. Health workers learn about diseases and treatments, and we have all these wonderful knowledge. We have all these technical and scientific terms, but it doesn't help to teach mothers that, because they might not understand what you're saying at all. So it's very important to use simple, familiar terms to explain things to mothers. And I think this is common general knowledge to us as well. When we are in strange positions where we don't have the knowledge, we want to be told in simple language what's going on. And it's so much easier for us to understand then, and it also builds confidence. When you explain to the mother in this technical and scientific terms, and she understands absolutely nothing that you're saying, she might also lose a lot of confidence and not knowing what to do. Here's a demonstration, or example. Health worker, good morning. What can I do for you today? The mother says, you can tell me what foods to give my baby now that she's 6 months old. And then the health worker says, I'm glad that you asked. Well, now the situation is this. Most children need more nutrients than breast milk alone when they are 6 months old, because breast milk has less than 1 milligram of absorbable iron, and breast milk has about 450 calories, so less than the 700 calories that are needed. The vitamin A needs are higher than that what is provided by breast milk, and also the zinc and other micronutrients. I think this is obvious that this health worker gave far more information. That's what's relevant to the mother at this time and what the mother will understand at this time. Then skill number 6 is making 1 or 2 suggestions, which is actually going with the previous slide where we shouldn't give too much information. So it might be, you might decide what would help the mother. If she does something differently, for example, if she feeds the baby more often or holds them in a different way, what's most important for her now to learn? However, you must be careful not to tell or command her to do something. It always helps if you can suggest things and that she makes her own decision, because that will help her to make her feel more confident, and that also helps her to feel in control. Example, Amy breastfeeds only 4 times a day and she's gaining weight too slowly. Her mother thinks that she does not have enough breast milk. Which of these responses is a command and which is a suggestion? You must always indicate a command. You must feed Amy at least 10 times a day. That's obviously a command. It might help if you feed Amy more often. Obviously, this is a suggestion. So response 1 is a command, and you might make Amy's mother feel bad if she's not confident in giving the baby 10 times a feed 10 times a day. So it might be better to suggest that she feeds her more often, and Amy's mother then decide on what she wants to do. Or Another way to make a suggestion is also, have you thought about feeding her more often? Sometimes that helps, which is also a suggestion that Amy's mother can use. Just briefly as a reminder of what we've done in part 2 and part 2A and 2B. In part 2A we've done all the listening skills, and in part B we've done the building confidence and giving support skills that you have done in this session, and the listening skills in the previous session. And this brings us then to the end of this part of your slides. You have to complete your quiz so that you can continue. And again, as I've said previously, listen to how you communicate, listen to how other people communicate, and then learn from that and practice your own communication skills.